Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. This is 2021,
Hi.
first edition of Smart Business Moves.
Woo! Happy New Year, y'all. You know,
Yay.
I had to do some New Year's updates.
Isn't that crazy? Who'd have thought that we'd be here at 2021 so soon? It seems like did 2020 go by fast
Yeah.
or how could that be? I
It
mean,
went by fast because we didn't even work the whole year. That's why.
but it was unique. It was unprecedented. It seems like it didn't feel like it was going by fast when we were in the middle of it. It felt like it was like, what disaster am I going to be dealing with today? At least, for a while.
Hi, y'all.
Hey, Leslie, Paula.
Hi, guys. Yeah, no, when we were in it, I gotta say, it did not feel like it was going fast. I had to keep reminding myself, like on a regular basis, this too shall pass, Liz. This too shall pass. The only constant is change. Come on, it'll be fine. Yeah, it wasn't. It was tough. I don't know. 2021 is not just sitting there looking all peaches and cream for a lot of people either, though. It wasn't. I don't know why. I thought that like on midnight there's gonna be like some sort of a switch. Then what happened? It was like, woo, 2021. Everything's awesome and perfect and back to normal now. Yeah. Well, maybe I didn't think it was going to be quite like that. Hey, Susan. But I thought it was going to be kind of closer to that. Like, okay, fresh start.
One of the things that we talked a lot over the last, week or two about the new PPP funds that are coming out and how, we can kind of work the tax credits too. Another change that took place at the beginning of the year that I don't know that we talked about was the requirements for employers to give 2 weeks paid time off under the Emergency Family Leave Act, or the other program if somebody was sick themselves. Or
Right. Was it different?
it changed at the beginning of the year.
Oh, okay.
For 2020, you are basically mandated, obligated as an employer to make those benefits available to anybody that was working for you. That's criteria.
Yeah.
And then you would get the money back on your taxes. You get a credit on the payroll taxes. So it really wasn't costing you, but you were being, the bank for that.
Right.
But it could be an incentive for people to take 2 weeks off when, all they need to do is say they feel bad, regardless if they did or they didn't. Well, starting this year, you don't have to pay for that for those. You can choose to, all the way up through the end of March, and you'll still be reimbursed for it if you choose to pay for it, but you don't have to.
Okay.
So, but you really need to make a decision. Are you going to be doing it first quarter or not? And if you are, you need to be consistent with it. Or if you decide, no, you're not going to pay it, well, that's fine too. Legally, you don't have to now. You did last week, you don't now, but you would need to be consistent with it. And you would probably be best served to communicate to, all your people that that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense for us. We'll be doing that here in Washington. Good call. My son recently, so he's not keeping it secret, so I'll share. My son recently came down with COVID. What his company was doing last year was everybody got this thing that they were calling COVID pay. So pretty much you were taking 2 weeks off. That's how they were managing their reduced workload. But don't worry, you were getting this COVID pay from the, what was the acronym? The one that we just said, the FFCRA monies.
Yes.
But now he just came down with COVID yesterday. And so now he's like, but Mama, they already made me take the money. So am I going to have to be out of work now for 2 weeks and I'm not going to get paid? I was like, yeah, I kind of think that's the way it's going to go, Lava. He's like, well, that's not fair. I'm like, yeah, being an adult's hard sometimes.
It might not be fair, but that's the way it is.
But are you sure? Pretty sure. Pretty sure. People don't have to pay you when you're sick, Leva. That's not really a thing. He's like, but I kind of feel like it is in Washington. Yeah, it kind of does feel like that, but yeah, they don't have to. He does work for a really great company, so I have a feeling they will work to keep him and not have him be unduly pressured. But I kind of wanted to give him a little, you got to grow up sometime, dude, spiel.
Yeah, you can't double dip. If you got the money in 20, you don't qualify for it again in 2021.
Yeah. I reminded him he has a little check coming, $600 or something. So that'll help a little. Just reminder that's coming. Good timing.
Leslie wants to know if he can get unemployment. I don't think that you can, because technically he still has a job. He just can't come to work while he's.
But I think he will be able to get a reduction in hours.
Okay.
Anything more than like 3 days, you're allowed to get something. So he probably will, Leslie. You know, we're very employee friendly over here. Not as much as you guys, of course, California, but close. Leslie also had a question about what platform that we listen to audiobooks on. By platform, do you mean like Audible?
Yeah, I do Audible, and I have a subscription where I get like, well, I pay for it, so they're not free books. They kind of feel like free. The credits just kind of show up. So, but do that through Audible and I guess Amazon.
So I do Audible, and then I also do the Libby app through the library. I think that's also a platform. And I also use Overdrive, which is through the library. And yeah, Audible you have to pay for. Like I get 3 credits on the 25th, I think. So I'm waiting for the 25th every month to get those 3 credits. That's basically 3 books. But the library is how I supplement. I would go crazy if I could only read 3 books a month. So get freebies there.
And I think that the credits are cheaper than if you were just buying the books a la carte, because some of those, Audible books are pretty expensive. The price tag they put on them.
You do have to watch though, because I think depending on the size of your package, if you have silver, gold, or whatever package you have, how much you pay for credits is different. So you don't want to use an Audible credit for a book that's like, I don't want to use an Audible credit for a book that's going to cost me $9.84. That's like ridiculous. It's not good money. I think my credits are worth like $12 or something. Okay. So you do have to pay attention.
You're paying attention. I don't. I just click the button and pops. I should pay attention. I should.
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I read a lot, so it could get into the hundreds of dollars if I didn't pay attention.
I don't have the capacity to pay attention to too many things. I have too many things to pay attention to.
I think you're just wealthier than me, Tom, so you don't have to.
No, I don't know about that. If I were paid attention more, I might be wealthier. Okay, so the emergency family medical leave is the EFML, and the other program is the emergency paid sick leave. And I dropped a link to this article in chat that explains that you can still offer them if you want to, but as of, I guess, the 1st, you're not obligated to do it. It's not mandatory. You don't have to. So you, as a business, you have to choose if you're going to do it or not. Okay. And I also read, though, that they believe there's a belief by some people, some attorneys, that when the new administration gets into place, that they're gonna make it mandatory again and make it retroactive to the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. The rules are being written, but as of today, you don't have to do it if you don't. As a company, if you choose not to.
It does seem like with the change in presidency coming, that we will see. I mean, who knows, right? But seems like we can expect to have things working more in our favor versus less in our favor. So, although they've been pretty generous under the old regime.
I guess there's so many dimensions of that, and that's a topic for another day.
I'll get us started. Sorry, y'all. For anybody that I just raised their blood pressure, I'm sorry.
For today and for tomorrow and the day after and the day after, we're going to be talking KPIs. Liz and I had a discussion after, I guess it would have been last Wednesday was the last time that we did this, that, we were having fun with the KPI deck, and we were starting to drill down into profit and what, loaded payroll to revenue was really the key driver in a lot of regards to profit. And we started drilling down on how to lower your loaded payroll to revenue. And we were just scratching the surface. And based on feedback we were getting, we believe that you guys were getting value out of that. So we figured what a better way to start the new year than to take a full week and see if we can do some serious damage to drilling down on the contributing factors to, what makes your payroll to revenue what it is. And, the intent and the objective would be that by the time we get to the end of the week, you'd have a pretty clear understanding of the things you can do in your respective businesses to start making changes to drive the green numbers up and the red numbers down.
Couple of questions over here, Tom. Susan, we don't know because we don't even know if they are going to reverse it or not. So no clear answer on that. And then Carrie wants to know, will this be available to watch after the live is over? Yeah, Facebook Lives save. Where can you tell where she's watching, Tom?
Gee whiz, we're streaming this on the Cleaning Business Today page, on the Modern Cleaning page, on the Made Central page, on the Cleaning Profit Builders page, on the ARCSI member page. We are streaming it in the Cleaning Business Today YouTube channel and on the Cleaning Profit Builders YouTube channel. And all of these sit there. So you can go to any one of those pages or any one of those Facebook groups and
watch it.
Just watch it. Yeah. You can scroll back. You can go back and look at stuff that we did in March if you want to.
The thing I really like about it too is you can fast forward. So it's really nice, especially if you're trying to remember, like, oh, I remember they said something, sort of tap on the little bar and you can see, no, it was after that. No. Yeah, it was before that. So it's kind of nice if you're trying to go back and get some information.
And I know YouTube will let you speed it up. Will Facebook let you do that?
I don't know. I have no familiarity with speeding it up. I just know that you can fast forward, or not fast forward through, you can click through to different spots.
Because you had a video that you shared with me and I got through it pretty quickly because you were able to speed it up.
So were you able to speed it up or just fast forward through?
No, you're able to just set the speed to
nice.
Like 1.5, 1.75.
Wow.
Take it up to 2, kind of like Audible.
Oh yeah, I love that. I think that's amazing. I'm gonna have to look for that.
That's a feature in YouTube. Any YouTube video you should be able to do that for, at least the one you sent, the ones I'm familiar with. I've never not been able to do that in YouTube.
That's very cool. The one I sent you, was that a YouTube video? I thought it was just Facebook Live.
I think I streamed it from YouTube.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Get to work here.
Let's kind of go back a little bit. You guys I'm assuming you guys have hung with us here for a while, so I'm not going to go like crazy far back because we need to be moving forward. But we did really kind of drill down on the fact, I'll go back a couple, that the whole idea is that when we get $1, we want as much of that change to be, that part of that dollar to be flowing down here to operating expense. And the way we do that is by keeping our cost of goods sold down. And if you remember, we use this term proxy for cost of goods sold as our loaded payroll to revenue. I could just as easily say loaded payroll to revenue in this box right here. That would get us at the same thing. The lower that is from a percentage standpoint, the more of every more change out of every dollar is going to flow down here to operating expenses. And once that's paid, we wind up getting more money going into net profit. Once that's paid off, then the money becomes profit. And net profit's important because that's why we do this. We do this because without net profit, we can't make good jobs. It's a lousy place to work. Your service isn't going to be good, and you're not going to be having any fun, and you're not building any value. So if you want to have an awesome business, it has to be profitable. And if it's not profitable, nobody wins. Does that make sense? Let us know if it does, or if you have any questions on that. You know, we talked earlier about profit's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a necessary thing. You know, it's a tool. And once you're profitable, then you have to make decisions. You have the opportunity to make decisions what you do with that profit. But you can make awesome jobs, and you can provide great service if you're profitable. You can build a business that's valuable. Leslie gets that.
Yeah, I do have to say, I don't like this visual though, Tom. Let me just tell you why it confuses me. Because I'm thinking if it confuses me, I bet it confuses some other people. So we're using $1. We brought in $1, and 55 cents of that went to cost of goods sold, which means that we have 45 cents left over. And so 25 cents of that went to operating expenses. Then how did we get 45 cents on net profit?
Well, this X is supposed to be covering all three of those. What happened is once that dollar amount pops up, it's $25,000 here in this stack right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's $25,000. So once you've hit $25,000, none of this money flows over here to operating expenses. This whole thing goes away. It all flows down here.
You see why it's confusing though? It looks like the dollar breaking down to coins. We've got 55 there. We bring all the rest down to operating expenses. 25 of that is operating expenses, but not this other 20 cents. And so that to me looks like it should come down to net profit.
Yeah, and that's a picture, so I can't change it for that. I just need to delete the coins and the X and the whole thing right here once I get to $25,000, right?
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Okay, I'll work on that.
Easier, yeah. All right, but once we add the dollar bills, it's hopeful.
Yeah. So we've been all loaded the loaded direct payroll to revenue as. So the whole idea is we want to drive the loaded direct payroll down and the revenue up. And this is kind of where this becomes actionable. Okay, well, you can measure that. You can do the arithmetic every week, and you can do that, you know, just with your profit and loss statement in QuickBooks. It's not terribly difficult to do. I don't know.
I like this, Tom, because this is like our first introduction to what you're always talking about, getting the green numbers to go up and the red numbers to go down. It's kind of that first introduction here. So I really like this. And I think it's easy to know that we want revenue to go up, but we kind of have to do this little machination in our mind. LDP, what is that again? What is that? Oh yeah, loaded direct payroll. Loaded direct. Yeah, definitely. I want that number down, right? I want less of that. Less of payroll dollars going out, but revenue we want up. So I really like this slide because I think it's a really good intro to when you're talking about red numbers going down, green numbers going up, that's the secret to running a more and more profitable company.
Do I need to put a slide together for later this week showing how to pull those numbers out of QuickBooks to calculate loaded payroll to revenue?
People would love that. I promise you, people would love that. Good, Trisha. I'm glad that I shared with you.
I can do that.
That'd be great.
I'm halfway tempted to do it now, but I probably shouldn't be streaming live data. I know. So I'll pull something. I'll pull something together though.
I already have a plan for today, so we don't want to mess up the plan for today. What? Yes, Denise. Did you also like that? I'm guessing my guess is she also liked the idea of the red numbers going down and the green numbers going up. Oh, she would love that. Yes, they would both love that.
Okay, we'll get that taken care of. I'll fit that in before the week's out, I promise.
I think you guys are wanting, also let us know in those comments. And Tom is very good at getting us what we want as far as KPIs go.
So we want to make the red numbers go down. And we talked on Wednesday about reducing the labor load, and we actually went through some examples of that. We'll take a quick pass on that again today. Reducing our training expense, improving productivity, improving efficiency. All of those things will make our loaded direct payroll go down. Does everybody see that? Anybody have any questions on how making those changes would make our loaded direct payroll go down?
I think that it's one of those things that happens, Tom, especially when you're not familiar with these, is it can get a little bendy in your mind, because how can improving things make numbers go down? So it's the bad numbers, right? We want the numbers that we need to be smaller. If we make things better, then we can reduce things. So improving is how you reduce. Even reducing labor load, you reduce labor load by improving things that you do. Reducing your training expenses by improving things that you do. So you have to improve things to reduce these numbers, to get these numbers down, drive them down.
Yeah, improving productivity. Said simply, that's, can you clean the same house faster and still get paid the same amount of money? And if you can, you're making more money with less labor, right? So that's what productivity is. Or efficiency is, we've got slides that we're going to go over this, but just to kind of refresh our memory. Efficiency is the time spent in a day that's actually cleaning homes divided by the entire time that you're on the clock. So you want that number to be as high as it can. It'll never be higher than 100%, because that means that every minute you're on the clock, you are cleaning something. But if you're in a meeting in the morning, or if you're driving between jobs and you're on the clock, then your efficiency is going to be less than 100%. And the higher your efficiency, the more time on the clock you're spending generating revenue. So that means you're going to be, generating more revenue with less labor. You're driving your labor costs down.
Are you going to be talking about some targets for these numbers, Tom?
Yeah, we can do that. And the target vary depending on your business model. Do you do teams? Do you do solos? Where do your teams meet in the morning? Do you provide cards? There's a lot of things that affect those. But we'll have that discussion. Cool. On the green number side, again, if you want to get your revenue per direct labor hour up, then one way you can do that is just charge more, right? If you're going to be charging more for the same job and the labor hours are the same, then I'm getting more revenue per labor hour. Reducing the scope of work, which means I'm taking labor out of the job. And the presumption would be that you're kind of keeping the bill rate the same there, because sometimes, customers, you can say that, gee, it's taking me too long to clean your home, I'm going to have to charge you more. Well, I can't afford to pay more. Well, maybe you would be okay if we just did less for the same amount of money. And oftentimes they'll say, well, I don't really use that guest room anyway. Just go ahead and take it out of the scope of work. So that's another way you can do it. Rate adjustments and rate increases. We've talked about these. This was something that Liz taught me a number of years ago, that a rate adjustment is when a rate is just wrong. You're not charging enough and you need to fix it. And, typically it's wrong by more than a few percentage points, because if it's a few percentage points, you might not worry about it. But, if you estimated it was going to take 3 hours to clean the home and it winds up taking you 5 hours, then that's material. That matters. And you're going to want to make an adjustment, and that was an opportunity for a rate adjustment. And typically those are managed in a way differently than just sending them an email saying, hey, we just increased your rate 50%. There's a whole other process you need to go through with that. Whereas a rate increase is kind of a cost of living thing. It's the kind of thing that you do every year with your recurring customers. And that might be, 3, 5, 7%, whatever you decide to do. And that's more of a, oftentimes across the board thing. And
adjustments are typically a result of some type of error in some way, shape, or form.
You guessed wrong, or you your estimate process, the estimate that you came up with in terms of the amount of time that was going to take to clean the home, you just missed something.
Yeah. Or it could also be another way that I see adjustments needing to happen is we don't find out about significant changes to the home. You know, they get 3 new dogs. The child comes home from college and is now living in the house, and they got all tile floors where they used to have all carpet. All of those changes can mean that you need to change how much you're charging for that house, and that depending on how you are supposed to get that information, you didn't get it so that you could make the adjustment as it needed to be made. What's David saying over here, Tom?
Reducing costs and improving productivity is a story of John Henry, the steel driving man. I guess I vaguely remember there's a song.
Oh, is that what that is? A song? I don't know it. But I know how to Google.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe there was something in there about cost of productivity.
Something. Sounds like.
Good to see you, David. Happy New Year.
John Henry movie. John Henry song.
Reducing labor load. And we broke this down. We had 3 major areas to do this. One is workers' comp claims, because workers' comp claims result in a higher mod factor, which means you're paying more workers' comp insurance for every salary dollar that you incur, and that can, raise your loaded payroll to revenue by a material amount, and that can really hurt. I've seen companies be driven out of business because they had too many losses and their workers' comp was too expensive. Unemployment claims, kind of the same thing. The more claims you have, the worse your experience is, and the more you're going to be paying per salary dollar for unemployment insurance. And general liability claims, again, kind of the same thing, because most of us pay general liability as a percentage of our payroll revenue, or in some cases just our top line revenue. But the more losses you have, the higher your rate per $100 is, or $1,000 in some cases. Nevertheless, you're going to be paying more if you have losses. So you want to reduce your losses in all 3 of these areas.
So for anybody that wasn't on our call, I believe it was Wednesday when we went over this, Tom, we created this sort of list. We've got 8 different activities, 8 different things that you can do to impact these numbers. So, and the reason why we did this is a lot of times people feel like some of this stuff is outside of their control, like reduce unemployment claims. How can I reduce unemployment claims if the people are not working and I don't have work for them, or whatever the reasoning is? I don't have any control over that. Or workers' comp claims. How can I have any control over that? But you do. And so that's what we did, and that's what we're doing moving forward for this week, is we're coming up with more lead activities. Correct, Tom?
Yes.
In all these different areas that Tom's talking about.
On the workers' comp side and on the general liability side too, let's talk about general liability, then we'll swing back a little bit because we didn't really have anything there. One thing that you want to do for any of these is you want to talk to your insurance agent about getting your loss runs. You want to see on at least a quarterly basis, and you need, the term is loss runs. You want to ask your insurance agent to provide you your loss runs for your workers' comp and your general liability. What that does is that will show you how many losses you've had over the last several years, and if any of those losses are currently active. If somebody got hurt on the job, for instance, a workers' comp claim, you have an open workers' comp claim, there's several parts to that. And I could get an exhibit of this together, maybe it'd be useful too, because there's several numbers that you'll see on that. One of the numbers is the actual out-of-pocket medical expenses that have been spent on that injury. Another number is the amount of lost wages that have been spent on that injury. If the person got hurt is missing work, then they'll report the dollars that they've paid that individual to make up for the wages that they've lost. That's why light duty is important. We'll go ahead and we'll add that here because that is important.
Really good. Yeah.
If you have somebody that gets hurt, and if they can't do their real job, your insurance agent, if they're doing their job, is going to ask you, is there light duty work that you can have them do? And the point of that is you can keep them busy, you can keep them engaged in work, so at least they're used to getting out of bed and coming into work every day, and you're paying them something and hopefully they're creating some value. They're doing something in the office or doing something that can accommodate whatever their physical limitations are, and it keeps the insurance company from having to pay lost wages, which keeps the loss run down, which results in a smaller loss, which means your insurance won't go up as much in future years. If you guys, Liz, I know that you guys have dealt with this over the years. We've dealt with it. We dealt with it in some of the Castle Keepers branches, and we've tried very hard to find some light duty work for people to kind of keep them engaged. And the idea also is they don't get used to sitting at home. So if they're used to coming into work, you're going to get them back to doing their full-time job sooner.
All right, so let me tell you the reason why I'm not saying anything. I'm always talking about everything, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why I'm not talking about this one is because this one can get messed up. We as business owners can kind of get ourselves into a bad mindset if we're not careful. I've seen lots of times where people are saying, I have somebody that's out on a workers' comp claim. What's the worst light duty activity that you can think of so that I can get them something so that they will want to quit or so that they'll do everything in their power to get off of unemployment? And people will say things, I'm sure you guys have heard, they're saying things like, oh, have them go out there. What they hurt? Oh, they hurt their leg. Good. Have them go out there and spin signs in the rain. Or they hurt their shoulder. Yeah, they can still do flyers. Have them do flyers for 8 hours a day. And that'll make them quit. So what happens a lot of times is people forget that this light duty thing that you have marked here, this is for our benefit.
Yeah. And I know that you're going to explain this, but for fear that somebody might leave on that thought, do not do that. Everything you just heard Liz say, don't do that. I'll explain why, but there's some really nasty legal consequences if you do that.
Yeah. So it's not good. And it's all a symptom of this sort of mindset that we can get ourselves into if we're not careful, that we're being taken advantage of by our employees and the employees are running the show, et cetera. And part of this KPI training is that you run the show. This is a business that you're trying to run and you are going to run. So don't allow yourself to get sucked into these emotional drains, these things that are making you feel like I don't have control, I can't do anything, that are just sucking you into an emotional place. Remember that you have a lot of control and there are a lot of things that you can do. Don't worry about what you can't do. Worry about what you can do.
You don't want to do anything that would be construed as what they call retaliatory. You can't fire somebody for getting hurt on the job. That's illegal. You can't assign them crappy work. You can, do things like make them spin signs in the rain. Anything that they could do that they could find an attorney that could then file civil action against you, that you were retaliating and you were basically punishing your employee because they got hurt on the job, hurt on your workplace, your dangerous workplace, that you were, negligent in allowing that injury to happen to begin with, then your legal troubles are going to go up tenfold. So you want light duty work, but you want to do it in a spirit of cooperation. You want to do it in a spirit of, hey, we're partners. We're concerned about you. We're concerned about your health. We want to keep you working. This is what we're going to do. You don't ever want it to become confrontational. You want it to.
And a lot of times this happens with people where you're like, I know she wasn't even really injured. She's totally faking it. And so you get yourself set against that employee. But think about what Tom's saying. If you are dealing with somebody, let's just say for a second that you're right and this person wasn't injured. If they are willing to lie and say that they weren't and create this situation, doesn't that seem like the same type of person that might turn you into the labor board?
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line is you have to run your company correctly. Again, don't get sucked into this craziness. You're trying to run your company successfully.
You want to be empathetic. You want to be sympathetic. If there's anything going on your employee standpoint that you might think is fraudulent, you want to be so doggone nice that they feel guilty about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times people will leave and just be done with it, don't even want to work light duty if they are in that situation, because it's uncomfortable to have someone being so helpful and nice when you're basically taking advantage of them. Also, put your face on it. So it's easier for people to try to be fraudulent against a corporation, a company where they don't know the people, they don't feel like they're doing it to, Liz Trotter, Tom Stewart, Patricia Myers. If it's just Walmart, they can afford it, but not for us, little companies. All right. So I just really wanted to point out this. Don't let yourself get sucked into this light duty, this negative light duty mindset that I see going around Facebook all the time.
It's an opportunity, truly. And there's no getting emotional about it, getting angry about it is an indulgence. It's an indulgence that you really can't afford. It's your job as a CEO of your company to be rational and logical. I mean, regardless of if it makes you mad, allowing it to make you mad to the point where you're not making smart business moves is an indulgence. You can't behave that way.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't want to. You want to be the CEO that your stakeholders, meaning your employees, your clients, and your business are counting on you to be, need you to be. Let's talk about general liability for a minute.
I do love David's story over here too, though.
Do we want to see what this is? What's going on here with John Henry?
I have heard this story now that David says that.
Oh, okay. So steam-driven spike, I guess, as opposed to a hammer. Well, he beat the new steam. Okay, he did, but he died doing it. Machines and tools usually help you clean better, faster, but don't charge less, charge more. Well, we don't want to increase our productivity and die in the process.
No. That part's not good. So use the tools. That's part of, I think that's David's point, right?
Yeah. Use the steam-driven spike driving machine, and you have the opportunity to come back and make more money tomorrow.
Yeah, and look for those steam-driven spike machines, whatever they're called, right? In our business, what are those? What are the things that you can do, which is what Tom's talking about, of raising productivity, right? Look for the different things that you can do to raise productivity.
And a lot of times we overlook that. I mean, we're going to get to that a little bit later on, but since we're there, all the tools that you use, from the cleaning products to the towel that you wipe with, vacuum cleaners, the price matters, how long they last matter, what type of maintenance, is required, a lot of different things, but you really need to look at it from a standpoint of which ones will allow me to be more productive. Can I clean more square foot in less amount of time with this product as opposed to that product? And 9 times out of 10, hands down, you'll pay whatever the price is for the product that allows you to get higher productivity, and you're going to have more money in the bank at the end of the month. You're going to be more profitable.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
General liability. One of the things on general liability, and maybe workers' comp too in some states, you've got a thing called the deductible, which means if you have a loss, then a certain amount of that loss you're going to have to pay out of pocket before the insurance company kicks in and starts paying the rest of it. I mean, you see the medical insurance, you see deductibles insurance all over the place. So how does the deductible work? Typically, the higher the deductible, the lower the premium, right? So the point is you can adjust your deductible. And we'll talk just about general liability here for the minute. And when you're getting your insurance, ask your agent. Yeah.
We got to fix that spelling issue because Liz is going to go insane. IBLE.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Tom. I just can't handle it. I just can't think.
Isn't that the way they spell it in England? Maybe no, I guess not. They don't spell it that way anywhere.
Washington. It's not. Yeah, there we
go. Thank you. Ask your agent, what is your deductible and what would my premium be if I change that deductible? What are my options? Like on general liability, you might be able to get his deductible as low as $100, but you're going to be paying more for that insurance.
So is there something that we're looking at? How do we know which one's better, Tom?
Well, part of it really comes down to how much can you afford? You're to the point where, if a $500 deductible was going to hurt you a lot and you don't really have, often have $500 available, then you might want to get a lower deductible. The higher deductible gives you the luxury on workers' comp, on general liability. And this is pretty much the same in all states. So I'm just going to talk about GL for the minute. To make a decision, I'm going to pay this loss out of pocket. I'm not even going to tell the insurance company about it. For example, if you've got like $1,000 deductible on your general liability, your premium is going to be less, and you're going to be reporting less losses because if you break, Mrs. Jones's lamp that she bought at Walmart for $75, you're just going to pay that out of pocket. The insurance company's never going to know about it. So it's not going to mess up your insurance. And sometimes you break stuff that costs, $500, maybe $1,000. Maybe it's a $1,200 loss. But if you got $1,000 deductible, you're going to say, well, you know what? I'm not going to turn that in because I'm going to have to pay $1,000 of it anyway. And the insurance company is going to be paying the other $2,000, but they're going to take the whole thing and put it on my loss run. So my insurance is going to go up next year. It's not worth the $200. So I'm just going to pay it.
Okay. So everybody following this concept, I need to see some yeses or some no's. If you'd like us to talk about this a little bit more, how you decide about deductibles, because what Tom just said goes against what some people might think, right? So give me some yeses and no's. Yes, I get it. No, talk about it just a little bit more. So the example that Tom gave is, okay, great. Thanks, Denise. The example he gave is you might have $1,000 deductible, but you got a $1,200 claim and you might still choose to pay that out of pocket. That's right, Leslie. Works for GL, but not for workers' comp. Yep. That's why he switched real quick. He said workers' comp. He said, no, general liability, because it's different for all the different states, right? Way different in the different
states. You've got some latitude to pay out of pocket on workers' comp, but I'm staying away from that because other states you don't. You really need to talk to your insurance agent about that, and if that state allows you to do that, then you can play that game too. Because a lot of times, if you can send somebody to the company doctor and for a couple $100 make it go away, you're going to save yourself a couple $1,000 in the years ahead.
Yeah. Super nice if you can. All right. So everybody gets that, Tom. Awesome. Excellent. Great, y'all.
I'll give you a bonus here. It doesn't directly reduce your loaded labor cost, but on your automobile insurance, cracked windshields. If you got company cars, you get a cracked windshield from time to time. You might want to talk to your agent about it and find out how getting those cracked windshields replaced affects your premium in future years. Because if you shop around and find the right glass shop that knows that you've got a fleet of cars and you pay cash, which makes it very attractive to them, and they'll give you a better rate. They're going to charge you less if you say, "Hey, I got a broken windshield. I'm Castle Keepers. It's a 2018 Corolla, and I'm not even going to file a claim. I'm just going to pay cash. What can you do that for?" A lot of times it's a couple $100, less than $3, and you're better off doing that rather than having like a half a dozen broken windshield claims showing up in your auto insurance, because when your premium comes back next year, even though it wasn't a huge amount of money, it was a bunch of losses, and you're gonna more and pay that back with increased rates the following year.
Yeah, I can get a front windshield replaced for $250 to $350. Yeah, a lot of times if they're small, you can get them repaired on site for like $50 too, y'all. So we've done that many times too. But the point here, one of the points is that's not written here, that should be written here, is tell everybody that you're going to pay cash and see if you can get a discount, because you can get a discount. Tom did this for us in Portland when we had an accident. One of our cars, we needed to repair it, and we got the quotes. And then he said, "Well, what would it be if we paid in cash?" And they took a chunk of change off of that. So that was really awesome. I didn't even know that was a thing before Tom did that. I was like, wow, that's very, very cool. Leslie's saying she's paid all of her general liability in cash for 20 years. Wow. I wish I could have afforded to do that. But when I flooded Mrs. Johnson's house, yeah, that wasn't in the cards for me right there. There are a couple like that.
Robin's making a point here too, and we want to be clear on this. If you're paying it out of pocket, your insurance company doesn't need to know about this. But I want to make a distinction between your insurance company and your insurance agent. Your agent is your agent. Partner. They work for you. It's almost like your attorney, not completely, but it's kind of in that same area. You should be able to have a relationship with an agent where you can tell them a lot, and then you and your agent together figure out what you want them to tell the insurance company, be it the Hartford or Berkeley or Travelers or whoever the insurance company is. For the most part, you don't even want to be talking to the insurance company. You want to be talking to your agent, and then your agent talks to the insurance company. So you don't
want to talk to your agent too. I mean, I think I'm glad you're bringing this up, Tom, because a lot of times, or I guess, let's see. Yeah, Robin was initially bringing it up because a lot of times people think they can't talk to their agent. As soon as they talk to their agent, that they're reporting it, and now it's going to go as a claim. But like Tom said, your agent is like your partner. That should be the first person that you think of that you want to talk to. Ooh, I need to talk to my agent. I need to find out. Your agent knows way better than you do what the recommendations are. They know what's going to get paid. They know what's going to impact what. Let's see, 1800 has been by far and away the highest. It was a shelf that fell full of expensive figurines. Knock wood. I'm knocking wood for you right there, Leslie. That's the highest you ever get.
You'll be doing well if that's.
Yeah, I love that. I wish I could say the same. I cannot.
But your agent is on your team, basically. You don't want to be hiding stuff from your agent because you're shooting yourself in the foot. Furthermore, you'll run into situations where you won't know what to do. It's like, gee, somebody says they're hurt. I'm not sure. What do I do? Or Mrs. Jones claims that something was stolen. What do I do? We had a situation, an accusation of theft within the last month that the customer didn't really want to be reasonable, I called my agent up and said, we got to play good cop, bad cop here. So I don't even want to file a claim on this, but I need you guys to talk to this client and negotiate, some type of outcome. And the whole discussion changes when your client's talking to somebody from the insurance company. And consumers, your clients, they don't know the difference between the insurance agent, the insurance company, or whatever. I mean, they just think that they're negotiating at that point. And not 100, you don't always have to do that, but that's an example of where your insurance agent can be your partner and help you. But if you're in a situation where you got questions, you don't want to be hiding stuff from them. You want to be sharing stuff with them and getting their advice and direction.
I love that idea. So hopefully you guys all know who your insurance agent is. And if you don't, find out. And if you don't have one currently, maybe you've never dealt with one, get one. So that's part of what you're paying for. David, 3 thumbs up. I don't have 3 thumbs. I'll move them really fast.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll give you a third.
Thanks, Tom. All right. Yeah. All right. What else can we do to reduce general liability claims, Tom? Or anybody over here on side comments? What else can we do, y'all? How can we reduce these claims? So my thinking is that there are multiple things we can do under every single category to, again, green numbers up, red numbers down. And in this area, reducing general liability claims, what else can you do? So raise your deductible, Tom has on here. Another one we need a little bullet point, Tom, is what was the one that we just talked about? Get an agent, right? Talk to your agent so that you can reduce them. Oh, we got a whole bunch here. Get them already?
I basically copied for what we had at workers' comp in terms of measure accidents. You want to measure breakage. Anytime somebody breaks something, you have something that, a loss in that regard. We have a whiteboard in the front of the office in Charleston that they'll write the number of days since we had a broken item, for instance. Always want to keep it, top of mind. Safety training. What are some of the things, how do you break stuff? Well, I didn't have my towel folded correctly. My hands were wet and it slipped.
Anybody ever had the situation where someone takes something off of the wrong caddy or uses it on the wrong thing? Anybody had somebody, I know somebody on here has had the green scrubby sponge used on stainless in a really lovely swirl pattern. So on a stainless refrigerator. So, right, that's something you want to track. And a lot of times with that stuff, you can just change your process, right? Change what you do. You might not have those green scrubby sponges available anymore. Again, that could be what you have in your arsenal versus even any kind of training. You might just take it out. I know people that have taken bleach completely out of their company because of damage. No other reason than just they don't want to deal with the potential damage that bleach brings, so they don't have bleach.
You wind up cleaning a bathroom with bleach and you get it on your shoes and you walk across somebody's oriental rug and you bleach it out and you have to have a claim of multi-thousands of dollars. Then you really try to figure out other ways you can clean homes without having that risk again.
Yeah.
But that's a training issue, in terms of, how to make sure that you're not getting it on your feet and walking out of the house. A lot of it is training. We talk about training. We get a little bit deeper into this. There's going to be one recurring theme. Good training will make you more profitable. You look at it as an expense, and one of the things that we talked about earlier is keeping your training costs down. That's a matter of how many people you train, not how comprehensively you train. If you have a low turnover, then you're able to thoroughly train a more modest number of people, and that's where the magic really starts.
Yep, agreed. We got some good examples over here. Robin says he replaced 2 rugs. They don't have bleach anymore. Chemical spill that reduced the finish off a hardwood floor. Yeah, pretty nice big spot. Yeah, I've been spraying a dining room, thinking it was pledge, just quick grab, right? So some of those things are around the idea of measuring accidents. Look at these types of accidents that you have. Is it something that could be repeated? If it is, don't wait until it gets repeated, y'all. Fix it now, right? Take some proactive measures there.
Chemicals, acid on marble and stone is often a big deal. Oven cleaner, overspraying, getting on the floor happens a lot. Anything abrasive, even magic erasers. People think that they're magic. What can happen with this? Well, if you put the magic eraser on the wrong thing, you'll take the shine off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know all this. And all of that's training, right? Standard operating procedure.
So we're talking about two different things, though, right? One is safety training, and then we're also talking about SOP mods, right? So how do we do things? And then you might also have to change what it is that you have, the tools, the equipment that you're using, or how you're using it. I know for a long time, we didn't have any kind of a bumper on our vacuum cleaner heads, and we were terrible at nicking baseboards and stuff. And that we want to still keep cleaning the same way, but we had to modify our equipment. We had to get a bumper on there. So, yeah.
I'm going to add like the hiring process. I
Nice.
use candidates because we're talking about a lot of the GL stuff. We're talking about in the context of breakage and damage, but it's broader than that. This is kind of a catch-all. If you have theft, normally there's a rider, but that covers theft like an dishonesty policy. But that basically rides along with a lot of policies with the GL, and it's rolled into that premium.
Whoa, Tom. I don't have my clock anymore because Christmas is gone.
We've got a few minutes. No, we've got 1 minute. Okay.
What? Sorry, y'all. I had a clock that was giving us a warning before, but the clock is gone.
Safety training is broader than just the workers' comp part of it, though, because if you do something in somebody's home, I mean, you see this a lot on the commercial side. Like, if you're cleaning commercial space, like vinyl tile floors, like grocery stores, and if somebody slips and falls, regardless of why they did it, the cleaning company is usually named as a defendant, because obviously they weren't cleaning the floors right if it was slippery and somebody gets hurt. And that falls under general liability as well. And that's a liability that we all take. If, Mrs. Jones walks into her kitchen and falls and you recently cleaned her home, then, you could, if she gets hurt, you could find yourself in a lawsuit. And that's GL as well. And that's where having the proper training in place and processes where you're, using low moisture cleaning products, and you're training, your staff on the right way to clean, to make sure that they're leaving the house safe for the people who live in it.
And also doing what they're supposed to do. I had an employee that loved a really shiny wood floor. And so he used to take pledge and put that pledge on a nice dust mop when he was done mopping so that it would be shinier. Yeah, it was shinier and hecka slippy. So,
I know this is KPIs, and I know a lot of times we do KPI workshops, and it's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of arithmetic, and there's arithmetic behind this. But the objective here is to leave us with actionable stuff that we can do, and we can measure all of this. And this is what drives this one red number down on your direct labor load. Is this helpful, folks? Because unless you guys tell me otherwise, this is the plan for the rest of the week.
One more thing I think might be helpful, Tom, is hecka slippy. I know. But Tom, I think one thing that would be really nice is if you could show your little graph or your little chart that shows the red numbers and the green numbers and how they're connected here, how this number going down is really helpful. You have the cute little, it's not cute, it's a nice little KPI graph. I think if you could show that. Also, so Bridget says absolutely good. Robin would like to see the KPIs that match up. Yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah.
Shows the KPI. And then, it was a long weekend, y'all. So we felt like we had to do kind of a bigger recap. Tomorrow, we're just going to get quick into business, and we're going to be on time tomorrow, right, Tom?
Absolutely. 5 o'clock Eastern, sharp. Be here.
We're gonna be on time, and we're going to start talking about work very, very quickly tomorrow so that we can get a lot in. So anything that you guys want to know, see, etc., make sure you reach out to us too. I know I got a lot of MMA people on this call. Feel free to, send me a quick message, and we'll make sure that information gets in here. Yeah. Good to see you, Robin. Yeah. We'll get to it faster tomorrow. So
Thanks, guys. You guys take care. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. Bye-bye.
bye. Happy New Year.